Morning, this is Brian. Today is Wednesday, May 29th, 2024, and I'm here at the Big Laguna trailhead, one of the Big Laguna trail heads, and I'm going to do my next climb up to Monument Peak. Today, might make a side trip over to Hayes Peak. Just time to get some fresh air today. Try to get a little bit more elevation acclimation, because next week I will be on a 5-day vacation. And I am planning on spending it in the mountains. Probably the San Bernardino Mountains. So that's my plan, is to just get some fresh air and enjoy the mountains. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up to the PCT, head up this way to the PCT, and then I'm going to join the PCT. I'm going to head northbound on it, and then find a use trail, and then go up to Monument Peak. First, before I go ahead and admire this really large coulter pine. I know I've shot video of this before, but this tree always gets me every time I come here. Yeah, that right there, that is not a Jeffrey pine, folks. That is a coulter pine. Pretty decent sized one too. The one next to it is a Jeffrey pine, but yeah, I think I did an oat video over here one time. I think back in 2022. And then I went across towards that meadow over there, looking at some other ones. But yeah, I've always admired this coulter pine right here. Very beautiful tree. Absolute stunner. So I'm going to start making my way through this wooded portion here. Nice chunk of this hike's actually going to be in the chaparral. But I'm just wondering what kind of little surprises wait me today. Ask and I shall be answered. Here's our first little piece of botanical awesomeness of the day. We've got a nice little patch of woodland strawberry over here. Look at that. Fragaria vesca. These are some nice luscious looking plants. Very beautiful. Got a lot of little grasshoppers hopping around here too. Yes, Fragaria vesca. There's a nice patch of it right under these black oaks here. Very, very cool. And they're blooming too. So probably in a couple months, should be looking at some small strawberries. Fragaria vesca. Really cool. That's a nice little patch of it. Never noticed that before. And there's more. There's more over there by the black oak tree. And then, of course, here's a perennial classic wildflower. Well, the plant is more like a biennial, but what I mean by perennial, like it's a wildflower hit every year that you come here and you see this plant every late spring. Western wallflower, Erysimum capitatum, variety capitatum. There's a nice patch of right here along the side of the trail. And what I meant by perennial is not the life cycle of the plant. I believe the plant's a biennial, maybe a short-lived perennial, but in meaning it's a classic wildflower you'll see year after year here in the mountains, and it usually heralds the approach of summer. This is usually a late spring classic, and of course, can't forget about another classic San Diego County Mountains wildflower, Palmer ceanothus palmeri. And these ones haven't reached full bloom yet, but slightly lower elevations they have. So we are in mountain wildflower season. As in the lower elevations, we're drying up and turning brown. up here, since the hard freezes are most likely over, we can now enjoy the wildflowers up here. The temperatures are warming up in the mountains. In fact, during my PTO or vacation early next week, the middle to latter part of my 5 days off, the mountain temperatures are actually going to get pretty warm, if not pretty hot. It'll actually probably be cooler where I live, because I'm on the coastal side of the mountains with the marine layer influence. There we go. Look at that Jeffrey pine right there. That's a nice, beautiful tree. That is one of the trees I've never done an ode video representing the Jeffrey. I've never done an ode to Jeffrey pine yet. Surprising, because I absolutely love the heck out of them. In Mount Laguna, that's your most common coniferous tree is the Jeffrey pine, by far. So yes, we get to enjoy this woodsy stretch for a little while before we hit the base of Monument Peak. When we're on the PCT, it breaks out into the chaparral at some point. Then it becomes very sunny and exposed. So on a day like today, it's supposed to be, I believe, in the probably around 72, 73 today. You'll feel it when you're out in the sun. One thing I noticed driving up here, tons of caterpillars on the road. I'm here just trying to be careful to pay attention. I don't want to run them over. A lot of caterpillars on the road, I noticed. Ooh, what kind of Agaceris do we have here? What kind of Agaceris is this? Let me see. Oh, this looks like Agaceris retrosa. This is spearleaf mountain dandelion, or spearleaf Agaceris. Starting to bloom. Think, oh, it looks like a dandelion. It's related to the dandelions. However, it is a native, very much a native plant. So seeing this means seeing something cool. To me, it's an awesome native plant. Oh, so back to what I was talking about. When I was driving up, I told you about the caterpillars all over Sunrise Highway. Well, what I've been noticing is that there are parts of the lagunas where the smaller black oaks, the California black oaks, were literally defoliated. So it took me a while, but I finally put two and two together. I think the caterpillars have something to do with it. Here it's not so much, but a little bit further north on Sunrise Highway, and also on the part of Sunrise Highway when you're starting to come up from Interstate 8, where you start seeing black oaks, I noticed a lot of defoliation. Some of the black oak trees are all nearly stripped bare. I think it's due to these caterpillars here. I don't know what kind of moth or butterfly they become. I really don't know too much about identifying caterpillars and stuff, but I've been seeing a lot of those on the highway today. See, these black oaks seem to be okay. Here, Quercus kelloggi, this is our California black oak, of course. Another one of the most common trees you'll find here in the lagunas. But yeah, there's been a lot of defoliation in parts of the lagunas, especially the smaller sapling sized ones and some of the shrubs. So I'm kind of wondering, oh boy, hopefully the oaks will have enough reserves to resprout leaves once these caterpillars pupate and become butterflies or moths, and then the oaks will be able to send out a second crop of leaves. So we'll see. I'm kind of hoping that's the case. All right, well, so we got some flax over here, some Linum lewisii, And ours might be a variant, might be variety Lewisy, but Lewis's flax blooming right here. Yeah. So this is Linum Lewisy, and I believe it's variety Lewisy. I think it's divided into variants. So let's see. What else am I going to find along this awesome trail? I'm noticing a lot of cryptanthus too. These plants here with the really small white flowers. There's a lot of this on the side of the trail. I haven't really learned how to diagnose them down to species level. I've been noticing quite a few of those. And here's some more of that Lewis flax. So there's a lot going on. Late spring in the mountains. Late spring and early summer. It's a good time to be up here to see your flowers. Speaking of that, these aren't true flowers, but you can see the Jeffrey pines are getting their pollen cones too. They haven't opened yet. Pretty soon this area will probably be flowing with yellow pollen all over the place. Pine trees can produce an unbelievable amount of pollen. And I think this is, if I remember correctly, I think this is Phacelia imbricata, variety hastata, I believe. I think this is the variant hastata, if I remember correctly. Type of Phacelia. A little bit later blooming than some of the other ones. So yes, this first part of the hike is the easiest. It's very gentle, rolling, slightly rolling terrain. Some gentle ups, some gentle downs. Just a very beautiful area, nicely wooded. This area wasn't quite as heavily impacted by fires in the last 2 to 3 decades. Did make one mistake today, not bringing my field guide to identify some of the wildflowers I'm not haven't become familiar to me yet. So kind of bad on me. Been usually pretty good about bringing it, but sure didn't today. Yes, very lovely terrain out here. Well, we'll see what else interesting pops up on today's journey. So working my way up, some scarlet bugler, Pensiments and Tranthifolius popping up here. There are a few species of Pensiments here. Quite a few that have these beautiful scarlet reddish flowers. Well, this is the scarlet bugler right here. This is Centranthifolius. Really cool plant. There's some type of milk vetch here. I wonder if that butterfly's a cabbage green. I wonder if that's what that is. Oh, is this Lupinus excubitus variety Astromontanus? Nope, it doesn't have the grape soda smell. Ooh, Roos. Ooh, is this a Brodiaea? I wonder if this is a Brodiaea right here. Or is this blue dicks? Or schoolbells. I prefer to use the name schoolbells. And here's a flax with white flowers. Interesting. But yeah, this is another Lewis flax right here. And then of course, this is Rhus aromatica, skunk brush. Really nice thicket of it here. Come here in early fall. These will be decked out in red, orange, beautiful fall colors. Ah, skunk brush. Beautiful plant. One of our nicest fall color shrubs. Or nicest fall color plants, period. A lot of Rhus aromatica. Okay. Alright, I'm already at the PCT. I'm going to get ready to bank a left here to head up towards Monument Peak. So here we are. We're going to bank a left here, go on this for a little ways, and then we'll join the use trail and start climbing up. Beautiful, beautiful birch leaf mountain mahogany. Cercocarpus betuloides, radibetuloides. Very nice specimen right here at the trail junction. But yeah, that one other plant I thought was maybe schoolbells, aka blue dicks. Weird name. Maybe because it used to be Dichelostema. It used to be the genus name of the plant, which is now Dipterostemon. Or Dipterostamen is the now used genus name for that plant. But that also looked like that could have been Brodiaea. The flowers were in kind of crumpled shape, so I couldn't really tell. It'd be cool if that was a Brodiaea, because I never experienced a Brodiaea. This is another monocot plant. Here we go, more mountain mahogany. This is a pretty decently well-established one here. There are some places where those things get huge. I mean, they're shrubs, but sometimes you see them get to the size of small trees. Yeah, that's up towards Hayes Peak over there. I'm thinking about making a side trip up there again. Usually when I come here, I usually combine the two on a single hike because they're so close to each other, and Hayes Peak is a pretty relatively easy side trip. Last time I did Hayes Peak, I also did what I did Peak 59, 58. That's over to the north of Hayes Peak. And then I jumped over and did Monument Peak, and it almost went all the way to Stevenson Peak. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. There are just hundreds of these caterpillars all over the place right now. Look at that. Hundreds of these caterpillars. Yeah, so yeah, I'm assuming these are what's defoliating the oaks. This year must be the year of the caterpillar. Man, those things are everywhere. Yeah, they're all over the trail too. All over the PCT. They're all over Sunrise Highway. I hope we don't have a major oak defoliation. There we go. Here's the Palmer ceanothus that's really blown up over here. Slight perfumey smell. Slight perfumey smell, but once these plants are in mass, when I had my window down on the highway, you can kind of smell it a little bit. It's not an overpowering aroma, but when these plants are blooming in mass, it's noticeable. And that's a pleasant woodsy woodsy smell. It's not insanely... Ceanothus is usually not extremely sweetly fragrant, but it does have a slight perfumey, a very woodsy aroma that can carry. All right. Yeah, so we're pretty much losing the... We're going to basically be losing the forest cover, the wood cover, and we'll be out in the chaparral, just about out in it now. And pretty crazy. I've done this hike a few times already. And the last time I did Monument Peak was from across the street from Horse Heaven Campground. There's an access trail that leads to the PCT, and then I took the PCT on a roundabout way to get to a small cross-country route to get to 5958. Rejoined the PCT, went up to, then the fire break to get up to Hayes Peak, went down the other fire break, took the use trail to Monument Peak, and then took Monument Peak Road, paved road, to as far as I could get, as close as I could get to Stevenson Peak without trespassing. So I couldn't finish that, getting to Stevenson Peak, unfortunately. Had to just leave it alone because I don't feel like trespassing. And then I went down that access road to PCT and I made a loop out of it. It's about an 8-mile loop. Nice day. I was back in early October. God, these scrub oaks are being defoliated too. All right. See you up the way with more updates. All right, so a note. Once you're on the PCT, you break out of the woodland, and out here in the chaparral, you're going to want to keep a lookout on your right side, if you're doing the Monument Peak hike, that is. You're going to look for a use trail. The use trail will take you up towards just below the summit, and you can either merge on the road, hike the road, paved road the rest of the way up, or you can continue across the road, continue on the use trail. You have both options. You have both options to continue on the use trail or take the paved road. Okay, so how you know, start getting up to these tall pinkback manzanitas here, and you'll see a PCT sign with a no biking sign. And then you'll see another PCT sign just around this bend. So when you pass the first PCT sign, just keep a lookout here for this very narrow use trail. You'll be brushing up against some shrubs on the way up. So you will brush up against some shrubbery, and it's becoming more overgrown as time goes on, apparently. But this is your use trail to get up to Monument Peak. Again, you're going to get up to near this fenced area. Again, you have the option of getting on the paved road and going around, or continuing on the use trail to get to the top of the peak. Peak is just over there. It's a very short hike to get up there. Very short hike. If you take it from that trailhead that I showed you at the beginning of the video, it's a very short hike to get to Monument Peak. I think it's less than 1.5 miles. Yeah. It's a very short hike. And you're gaining maybe about 600 feet, maybe. You start at about 5,600 feet, roughly. And then you end up at 6,271 foot Monument Peak. But yes, it's very narrow here. Trail is pretty easy to follow, so it's just, like I said, at your shoulder and head level. You might have to duck some brush, but the use trail is very easy to follow. And we are just about to crack the 6,000 foot mark. Usually, how I know I'm at 6,000 feet is when I get to this patch of California black oak right over here. That's how I know I'm at 6,000 feet. The 6,000 foot contour comes right through this patch of black oak. All right. Yeah. Oh, it's much more overgrown than last time. After 2 great rainy seasons, this is to be expected. To see this crazy amount of growth here. But then it opens up right here with this beautiful stand of birchleaf mountain mahogany, California black oak. We got a lot of scrub oak here. Quercus cornelius Mulleri. It's this scrub oak here, but also I think we have some acutidens, the Torrey's hybrid scrub oak up here too. So yep, we are just a slight bit above 6,000 feet here on the Monument Peak Use Trail. And Western chokecherry, very common shrub you're going to find here in the lagunas. Oh, and they're still blooming too. That's so cool. I love it. All right, continuing up this use trail. Pink-backed manzanita in bloom. So cool. Such a beautiful shrub. And a lot of bugs today, so be prepared. Come out here in the summertime. Look out for bugs. And a very narrow pathway. So watch your step. Trail's easy to follow, like I said. You ain't got to worry about losing it. At least as far as I remember, it's pretty darn easy to follow. All right, well, I'll see you at the next update. As we climb into the sunnier parts of the chaparral, as we're getting close to 6,100 feet, now we're starting to see some of the drier chaparral stuff here, since it's thinner and drier here. Of course, common chamise, no big surprise. Adenostoma fasciculatum, radifasciculatum up here. As we're just about at 6,100 feet, at about 6,140 feet elevation, you're going to run into where that fenced area is, and then that should be near where the option of continuing on the trail or taking the road will be there awaiting your decision. All right. See you up by your decision time place. We'll see. All right, just about to reach the junction. Right here by the fence. So you can either take the road or you can take the steep use trail up to just below the towers and then wind your way around the north to the west side of the towers, and the sun will be on the west side of the towers. Whatever you do though, whenever you're here, don't go in the towers. You're supposed to stay away from those. This is a very easy hike actually. Monument Peak is a pretty easy hike if you do it this way. When I did an 8-mile loop, that was more of a moderate affair. And even that wasn't strenuous. It was just a nice, long, scenic way to get up there. So once you're around the west side, the east side of the fence, got my directions all messed up. So you can, like I said, you can use the use trail and go up that way to the west side of the towers, and scoop around the north and then the east side of the towers and find the summit on the east side of the towers. I think today I'm just going to take the road. When there are a lot of construction workers up here, I try to stay out of the way. I just try to stay out of the way. So here's the road. I'm just going to take this more gently slope road up the rest of the way. Yep. Not that much more to go. Maybe about 130 feet of elevation gain. Of course, Gary Flavescens. Good old pale silk tassel. A shrub I've come to see a lot here in the lagunas. Occasionally you'll come across Fremont silk tassel too. There is one off the trail, off the use trail, very shortly before you join the road. There's actually a Fremont silk tassel. I think I pointed out last time I was here. Last time when I made the loop, I went around the PCT on the other side of Hayes Peak, hitting a small 5,958 foot mini summit, then Hayes Peak, then up to Monument, then down that road to near Stevenson Peak. But I didn't dare go any further because I saw a not open to the public sign near the summit, so I stayed away from that. So I'll just take this gentle, mellow road. It'll add a slight amount of distance, nothing big. You'll get some good views over here. Looking down towards the area from which I hiked earlier, down there. All right, I'll see you when I'm just about there. Getting closer and closer. About a little over 6,200 feet now. Oh, it's so beautiful out here. It's a beautiful day. There we go. Of course, hollyleaf cherry. Prunus ilicifolia, subspecies ilicifolia. Yes, I point this out because this plant means a lot to me. Just love this plant. We still got some lovely chamise matted up here on the hillside. Some birchleaf mountain mahogany in stunted form. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just, these caterpillars are everywhere. Sheesh, man. They're just everywhere. They seem to really love the oaks for some reason. Well, I think we got some bush poppy up here somewhere. Let me see. Let me get over here. Golden yarrow. Yeah, I've been pointing this out all spring at the lower elevations. Well, now I'm above 6,200 feet, and it's still here. Yeah, those yellow flowers right there. Those are bush poppies. Dendromicon rigida. I used to never knew that they grew above 6,000 feet until I saw them at nearly 7,000 feet along the PCT in the Desert Divide when I was heading up towards Palm View Peak, just south of the San Jacinto Wilderness. I'd seen some bush poppies at nearly 7,000 feet, which was pretty cool. I never knew they grew that high. Never seen them that high before. It seems pretty quiet up here today, so pretty good. Almost every time I come here, it's usually busy with workers. It's kind of nice to have it kind of quiet. Well, all the times I've been here at Mount Laguna, hoping to find sugar sumac or sugar bush above 6,000 feet. Still have yet to do that. Russo Vada. The highest I've ever seen it is still over by Garnet Peak, which is just under 5,900 feet. There was a pretty decent population of it on one of its subsidiary summits. So, still hoping to find it above 6K, and I think the Laguna Mountains got to be the place to find it here in Southern California. It's got to be here. All right. So yes, stay away from there, and from the road, just take this path. It'll take you to the actual summit area. This will be just over here, very, very close to it. In fact, here's our summit right here, kind of east of this little tower here. All right. For the first time in 2024, here we are. Monument Peak, 6,271 feet. Right up here. Very easy hike to get up here if you take it from that little spot on Sunrise Highway. Big Laguna Trail crosses. And then, I think what I'm going to do is get back on the road, get down to that fenced area, and then catch the fire break. I think I'm going to go ahead and head to Monument's little brother, Hayes Peak. I think I'll go ahead and do that too. Alright, so I'm going to get a sip of water, take a small break, get my summit selfie, and start pointing out some views. Alright, now that I'm up here towards the edge of the summit plateau, I'm going to look at some of these views here, since I'm closer to the escarpment. I'm going to start by looking south right now. Looking south, I can see Mount Laguna, aka Peak 6299, aka, again, Cleveland National Forest High Point. I did that hike almost a year ago. That was an awesome hike. That was a cool hike. And there's Cuyapaipe Mountain over there, the highest point in the Lagunas, 6,378 feet. And we're looking towards the Cuyapaipe or Ewiapaipe Indian Reservation. And there's that ridge. I always love looking at that ridge, pointing it out. The highest bumps on that ridge are about 6,200 feet. So now we're going to go swing it to the southeast, and we're looking down towards the southern parts of Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. And then we got the Sawtooth Mountains right here. These are the Sawtooth Mountains. I used to think these were the Incopa Mountains, or part of the Incopas, but I think the ones over that way might be the Incopas. But this is, studying the maps, I've come to find this is actually called the Sawtooth Mountains that kind of jet off of the eastern escarpment of the Lagunas. So now we're going to go ahead and turn it a little bit more towards the east. And of course, it's very hazy today, so you're not going to see much, but Salton Sea is out there. And then, of course, there's Whale Peak. I always point that one out. Yet to climb it, but I still point it out, and I still fantasize about what it would be like to be up there. Definitely not this time of year, because it's getting hot down there in the desert. And there's no way in heck I'm doing it this time of year. But I can still admire it from a distance until I finally do it and buck up and do it. Alright, so now we're going to swing it to the northeast, and now we're looking towards the very hazy Santa Rosa Mountains. Very hazy, so I'm not going to really point out too much. And then I'm going to swing it more towards the north-northeast. Looking out towards the San Jacinto Range, I can still see some snow on the south side of San Gorgonio Mountain way out there. I don't know if you'll see like a little white fleck on the camera. It's really hazy. Now that we're almost in June, our days are usually hazier. I can see the Vulcan Mountains right out that way. I can see Palomar, but you're not going to see it very well on camera. And then there's Garnet Peak over there as we're looking north now. Garnet Peak. That was the last hike I did here in the Laguna Mountains back in late January on a mild late January day. Now, and here's where the confusion comes with some of the naming of some of the mountain ranges here. Now, I pointed out the Sawtooth Mountains to our southeast. Now, coming down from Garnet Peak is another little ridge called Sawtooth Range. And that's the Sawtooth Range high point right there. 4,648 feet. Peak 4648. I've been fantasizing about trying to climb that too. But yeah, that's called the Sawtooth Range. So that's the Sawtooth Range jutting down from Garnet Peak. But then that's called the Sawtooth Mountains, and I believe that's the Sawtooth Mountains Wilderness. I believe there's a wilderness. I think it's a federal wilderness. I think it's called the Sawtooth Mountains Wilderness, if I remember correctly. And then in my next clip, I'm gonna point out some views from the west to the north, from the southwest to the northwest. Let's look at some of the northwest to southwest views, since I covered probably about 200 something degrees already of views. So there's the northwest. Way off in the haze over there is El Cajon Mountain. Over that way. You can't really see it too well between the towers. There's Payoff Mountain over there. And then that over there is really more towards the west now. There's Watai Mountain over there. Watai. That was a nice hike. That was a beautiful, beautiful hike. And then I could see out towards Lions Peak, way out there, near Hamul. And then more towards the southwest. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more again, or zoom out, or whatever. Now we got Corte Madera Mountain. And that's, whoa, sorry about that. Corte Madera Mountain right over there. And bigger brother, Los Pinos Mountain with the Fire Lookout Tower up there. Another amazing hike here in San Diego County. And swing it back to the south, there's Stevenson Peak just slightly down below. Yeah. Pretty nice. Pretty nice views up here on Monument. Very nice views up here. All right. Probably just peck around the summit for a few more minutes. Ooh, what kind of lizard are we looking at here? Wonder if that was going to be a sagebrush lizard. Oh well. All right. See you on the next clip. I'll start heading down pretty soon. All right, so I am leaving the summit area. I told you I found some bush poppies up here. It looks like I found some that are a little closer, a little easier to access. So I'll go over here and show them off. Another charming plant of our mountains here. Bush poppy in bloom. Look at that. How handsome is that? That is beautiful. Dendromicon rigida. They can get much larger than this in the lower elevations. Usually when you're up here, things are a little more stunted. But yeah, we got a nice display of bush poppy up here. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful display. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And it is a plant in the poppy family. You know, sometimes, if you know something about plants, a lot of times plant common names are not really, plants with certain names are not always affiliated with other plants with those certain names, like pine. the word pine used for conifers. Norfolk Island pine is not even in the pine family. It's a conifer, but it's not in the pine family. So let's go take a quick look here at this part of the escarpment here. Let's just appreciate how dramatic this east slope is here. This is precipitous. This is really sick. I love this view here. And right down there is Storm Canyon Mountain, which is, gosh, 2,300 feet lower than us. It's that 3,902 is the elevation of the summit. So that's called Storm Canyon Mountain. And Storm Canyon is more this way. You can kind of see the mouth of it down there. But yeah, that's Storm Canyon Mountain down there. I've always fantasized, I've been fantasizing what a route up to the Laguna Crest would be like from, I think that's S2 down there, I believe, S2. Finding a place, I think that's near, I think, what was it, Vallecitos County Park, I think is what that is over there. That little patch of green down there. So we're fantasizing what a hike up to the Laguna Crest would be like from down there. It would be well, to get up here to Monument Peak would be probably well over a 6,000 foot climb because of the ups and downs along the way. But it's something to fantasize about one day as a possibility. And you have to pick the right time of the year for that, preferably when temperatures are below average down in the desert. All right, well, start working my way back to the way I came, and we will see if I have any more botanical surprises today. So here I am at this platform. I haven't started going towards the fire break to Hayes Peak yet. But I've been over here a few times. It's been a while since I've been over on this part of the platform. Just want to see what's going on over here. It's been a while. Some chaparral shrubs are a little bit larger over here. Sure, a lot of pinkback manzanita around here. So we're about 6,150 feet here. Oh, look at this, right in the cracks. A brown spine prickly pear. Right out of the cracks of the asphalt here. That's pretty cool. Of course, more golden yarrow. Charming up the sides here. So I'm just going to walk a pace around this and see what we got. Got a slender sunflower up here too. A lot of birch leaf mountain mahogany. Ooh, what's hidden here in the brush? Oh, okay. Looks like the Pterostamen capitatus. School bells. Here's some more birch leaf mountain mahogany, of course. So now, since I haven't gone to Hayes Peak yet, but I'm just kind of exploring around here to see what else I can find. There's a beautiful Mueller scrub oak right here. And this one's full of caterpillars too, it looks like. A bunch of caterpillars in this. Here's a nice sized Mueller scrub oak right here. Beautiful. Quercus cornelius muelleri. Oh, another holly leaf cherry. Another handsome little holly leaf cherry. I don't think the caterpillars are going to try to eat those leaves. They seem to be mostly just on the oaks. because the oaks, a lot of oaks are sending out new shoots right now, and when they send out new leaves, their leaves are pretty tender before they have a chance to harden off. So the leaves are usually pretty tender this time of year when they're coming out on the scrub, both the black oaks and the scrub oaks. Their newer leaves tend to be a little tender, more tender. Yeah, I like this little patch here of chaparral. It's really pretty. It all grows really thickly along the side of this platform, whatever this is. Whatever its use is, I don't know. Oh, here's a nice brown spine prickly pear. Oh, here's a nice patch of it. It's got fruit on it. Must be from last year. It's got its flower buds right now. Let's get new flower buds on it. That's a plant I've yet to spotlight. I've not spotlighted that. There's a canyon live oak over there. One with the kind of golden colors, the new leaves. I'm pretty sure it's probably crawling with those caterpillars right now. Here's a nice old beautiful mountain mahogany. And what do we have here? Huh. Hold up. Hold up. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. What is up with this? Hold the phone. There is something up about this oak here that's really bugging me right now. Oh, I thought this was a Southern Coast live oak because the leaves are kind of cupped. I was thinking I finally saw my first coast live oak above 6,000 feet. But no, this is a shrub interior live oak. Dang, I was bugging for a minute. I was thinking, wow. I sworn this was a coast live oak at first. I was all bugging out thinking, oh my God, my first one above 6,000 feet. But no, this is a huge based shrub interior live oak. This thing's got a massive set of trunks on it. Oh, it's got some big trunks on it down there. It's hard to see. It's got some massive old trunks on it. Yeah, this is an interior live oak. I was thinking this was a coast live oak at first. I was really bugging out, thinking, okay, coast live oak is over 6,000 feet. All right, let's do this. But no, because the leaves are cupped, kind of revolute, kind of cupped. So I was really bugging out for a minute. It kind of actually looks kind of intermediate between the two. It looks intermediate between, but I looked under the underside of the leaves and they didn't have the fuzziness of Quercus agrifolia variety Oxyadania. So this is a very large Quercus whistlezzini variety frutescens. The trunks on it are some of the largest Quercus whistlezzini variety frutescens trunks I've ever seen. Trunks on it are massive because it's a shrub. It's a shrub variety of the interior live oak. The trunks in there are massive, about the size of regular ones. And here's a massive pink-backed manzanita right here. This is a major factor right here. This is a beautiful Arctostaphylos Pringley subspecies drupacea. Very big one. Very large. Of course, you go to Fern Valley in the Idlewild area, they get taller than that. Believe me. Fern Valley, Strawberry Valley, they get tall. Trunk-wise, though, the trunks on that are pretty massive, to be honest with you. Okay, so I was bugging. I thought that was going to be a Southern Coast live oak. I was about literally ready to pass out when I saw that. I was about ready to bug out. That's why my reaction was so intense. I was just looking to see what's up with that. Okay, well, moving on. I'm going to go join the fire break. I'm just going to walk around the fence this time. All right, well, I thought that was going to be my first coast live oak sighting above 6,000 feet, but that still remains to be seen. All right, I'll see you on the next clip. I'm going to round this fence and look for the fire break. I know I mentioned about seeing a lot of pale silk tassel here in the lagunas, but here's also a Fremont silk tassel. So I think this is the second one I've seen over here. There's one just a little bit further down the trail as well, where it's actually a little off the side of the trail, but this is Garrya fremontii. So we have two species of silk tassel growing here in at least two. There might be a third one. Garrya veitchii, the canyon silk tassel, might be found at the lower foothill elevations, perhaps. But above 6,000 feet, it's going to be fremontii and flavescens. It's going to be that one and the other one. So yeah, so here's the fire break right here. I'm a little off of it right now for goose trail. I think this was the first. This is the one I saw the last time I was here. Yeah, this is another Fremont silk tassel right here. The pale silk tassel has more of a grayish greenish color, whereas this has more of a lime green color. The Fremont silk tassel. I've seen it a couple spots in the San Jacinto Mountains too. The first time was along the lower portion of the Devil Slide Trail at about 6,500, 6,600 feet, heading up towards Saddle Junction when I did Talkwish Peak back in 2017. That was my first encounter with Fremont silk tassel. And then I saw it. I think I might have seen it in the Cuyamacas. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. They're pretty easy to tell apart. The color of the foliage should be a dead giveaway. Garrya flavescens, the pale silk tassel, is the one I come across by far the most. It's actually a pretty common species of Garrya. Fremontii, I've only seen it a few times. Again, Devil Slide Trail, just above Humber Park, near Idlewild. Then I've seen it in another spot along the PCT heading towards Palmview Peak. After climbing up, you go up the Cedar Springs Trail, head north on the PCT, and you'll see a few patches of fire recovering Garrya fremontii. There's another one right there. There's another Garrya fremontii. So there are a few of them up here. So yeah, you'll find them a few times as well. So that's pretty cool. I just think our botany here in Southern California is so fascinating. It really is. You can go from desert to nearly subtropical to Arctic alpine, and you run the gamut between high desert, Joshua trees, chaparral, pinyon juniper woodland, yellow pine forest, subalpine forest. Basically, you get pretty close to Arctic fell fields near the highest peaks, like San Gorgonio Mountain. You might get a little taste of that on San Jacinto. And you get a little feel of it on Mount San Antonio in the San Gabriel Mountains too, even though it's a little bit lower in elevation than San Jacinto and San Gorgonio are. But it's just the ferocity of the winds on Mount San Antonio, or Mount Baldy as most people call it. Pretty intense up there. So, just here looking around, browsing for plants, trying to see if I can find any interesting finds. Because now I'm going to get ready to join the fire break to climb up Hayes Peak. That should be a quick, relatively easy 100-foot fire break climb. So, no big worries there. Just another beautiful day up here in the Laguna Mountains. Pretty much every day I've been up here is beautiful. Alright, so now I'm on the fire break towards Hayes Peak. I always remember passing this thicket of canyon live oak over here. Trying to see if I see a gang of caterpillars in this one too. Yeah, there they go. Chewing up the foliage. But yeah, this is a canyon live oak. Runs a gamut from a shrub, sometimes a very small shrub, to a very small shrub, 180 degrees, to a massive tree. That's more of a large shrub. Yeah, one thing you'll notice about the way up to Hayes Peak, there are two ways you can get up to Hayes Peak that involve fire break use trails. This one is probably the more popular way from the Monument Peak Junction over there by where the fence is. Ooh, more bush poppy. But the last time I was on Hayes Peak, I climbed it from the north side, which is a longer, a little tougher, steeper way to get up to Hayes Peak, but it is a breathtaking view the whole way up. That was for my hike in October, early October last year. That was an absolutely delightful hike, going up to Hayes Peak from that side. Wow. All right. I wonder if this looks like also San Diego sweet pea up here. Lathyrus vestidas verdi Elipheldi, I believe, is up here too, huh? I realized it was above 6,000 feet. Yeah, so I wonder if these moths, these butterflies, these lime green butterflies, I wonder if these are the ones that come from those caterpillars that are chomping on the oaks all over the place. Just curious. I'm wondering. There are a lot of caterpillars and there are a lot of those butterflies. So I'm wondering if those are the same species. Alright. Let's go wiggle up this use trail. Peak's not that far away from here. It's a very short climb from this side. The other side, it's a couple hundred more feet of elevation gain. From here, it's about 100-ish, roughly. It's not that bad. It's a pretty easy hike. All right, well, I work my way up this and keep you posted. Got some more spearleaf mountain dandelion or spearleaf agaceris in seed already. Right here. They look like regular dandelions on steroids, the Taraxacum species of dandelions. But no, this is a native. Same type of seeds, aquinas. Spearleaf mountain dandelion. And it's got some more flower buds on it too, or flower head buds. So yeah. Seeing a few agaceris up here. That is a delightful plant when it blooms. People look at it and think, oh, it just looks like your dandelion you find in your yard. Some people might think that. To me, I look at it as another awesome native plant. Pensimus spectabilis variety spectabilis. Wow. Nice. I didn't know that grew above 6,000 feet. I usually see it below 4,000 feet. Well, there are definitely some botanical things to be pointed out. I think it's the first time I've hiked up here in the spring to Monument and Hayes peaks. So, yeah, here's some more of it right here. Wow, yeah, Spectabulus is a very good name for this plant. Here's a scrub oak that's been defoliated. That's why, right there. There's a lot of defoliated oaks. Even the black oak trees, usually the smaller ones along Sunrise Highway, were defoliated, just like that scrub oak was. It's kind of sad, actually. These guys got a long, dry summer ahead of them. They don't want to be wasting too much energy having to put out a lot of extra leaves. Yeah, like I said, this is a very short, easy climb to get up here. You want a peak climbing experience without the strenuous routes of some peaks. Hayes and Monument Peaks from the Big Laguna trailhead on the side of the highway. It's pretty good way to get a little elevation gain in. Doing Hayes Peak will add roughly about another 100 feet. So elevation gain will be closer to 700 feet. This will be my third time on Hayes Peak, and I think fourth time on Monument Peak. I'm just about to summit right now, actually. It's a very short walk up here. As for use trails, this one's a pretty easy one. Sometimes you gotta look out underneath you to make sure you're following the use trail. It's more of a fire break, but it's been used enough. Ooh, beautiful raven. Landed right in the chaparral. All right. This will be my third time up here. Okay, well, here we are. Hayes Peak, 6,180 plus, between 6,180 to 6,220 feet, 40-foot closed contour. So yeah, coming from this way, coming from the north side, it's very scenic. So you get more of a vertiginous view of the area if you come up this fire break here, which is the way I came last time. That was a knockout view. A lot of flies up here today. Yeah, this summit is buzzing with flies. But yeah, Hayes Peak. There's our summit register right there in that little can on the rocks. Yeah. Oh, the breeze is just absolutely delightful up here. And there's peak 5958, that one in the foreground, where my hand's pointing. Well, there were a couple of blocked off views on Monument Peak due to the radio towers, so along here now, I'll go point out a few of these more northwestern views that got missed on Monument Peak. The rest of the view middle peak at 5,883 feet. If I zoom in, you might be able to see Stonewall. Stonewall's a real craggy peak in front of it. And of course, Cherry Flat, Cuyamaca Peak, and Hopashaw Peak, all along the shoulders of Cuyamaca. And then I can see Viejas Mountain poking up over there. Oh, and that's looking over towards the Wooded Hill area. It's a little bit higher than where we are, 6,223 feet. So that's Wooded Hill right there. Been up there twice. Yeah. So this is it. This is Hayes Peak. My second of the day. Ah. I see lots of flies, some bees, gang of butterflies up here. Look like tiger swallowtails up here too, I believe. There's just a lot of insect activity. Okay, get some pictures here. Alright, so while I'm up here, before I leave, I have to point out something interesting. If you look at the slopes of the Laguna Mountains, you see all that whitish color. All of that whitish color. There, over there, over there, and some of that paler whitish color over there. Yeah. That's all Palmer ceanothus, Ceanothus palmeri. Full bloom right now. So yeah, all that whitish color, that's all Palmer ceanothus. That is how abundant this shrub is in the range, Ceanothus palmeri. I know I pointed out at least a couple times on the way up here, on the way up to the peaks. But yeah, now I'm just looking at the scope of how much. I mean, I see it all the time. I see Palmer ceanothus all the time. But when you're up here at the end of May, beginning of June, looking around and just seeing how much white is covering the hillsides, that is how much Palmer ceanothus grows here in the Laguna Mountains. It's just all covering nearly entire hillsides. That is so cool. I think that is just so fascinating. But yeah, look at all the bugs up here. Bees, flies, butterflies. This place is, and in moths too. There are even smaller butterflies. There might be moths too, but there are smaller butterflies up here too. That is so cool. There's just so many bugs just flapping around this hilltop. I love it. And we've got a larkspur here, a delphinium. We've got a larkspur. Never really come across these before. I wonder if it's Delphinium perry. I really don't know what delphinium species do. I just noticed them popping up here on Hayes Peak. They're, I believe, in the buttercup family, the Ranunculacea. I'll have to double check what species. Again, I made the cardinal sin of forgetting my field guide. But I wonder if this is San Bernardino Mountains larkspur. I wonder if this is, yeah, this is a larkspur. This has got to be a delphinium species. I wonder if this is Delphinium perry. I wonder. It's like a purple larkspur. Yeah, there's a nice little population here on the top of Hayes Peak. So that's why I go to the same spots repeatedly, but I go in different seasons. You get to experience different aspects of going to these peaks. Yeah, I've done this hike a couple times before, going up the monument and coming up here, but never been up here in the spring. It's either been in the late summer, early fall, or during the autumn. But yeah, look at that. Yeah. I gotta figure out what species of delphinium that is. It might be Delphinium perry, but don't quote me on that until I've had a chance to cross-reference cow flora and stuff like that, so I can be more confident. But yeah, and I'm just every now and then when I'm up here, I catch a whiff of the vanilla cookie smell of the Jeffrey pines blowing up the canyon here. Every now and then I catch a whiff of the Jeffrey pines down there. There are a couple of them down there that look pretty big. Yeah, there's one down there that looks huge. There's some really big ones down there. But okay. Alright, so now what I need to do is start working my way down. But yeah, there are some nice larkspur plants up here. Never really come across larkspurs before. As much time as I spent in the mountains and hiking, there's a surprising amount of plants I've yet to come across. I've known about them, I've heard about them, seen pictures of them, but still haven't come across them. So that's why I don't knock going to the same place multiple times and even taking the same route, because something you see in one season, you'll see something else in another season. Yeah, look at that. What a beauty. It looks like the leaves start dying out as the flowers come up. So these probably have a very short shelf life. They're perennials. They're perennial plants. So they survive for years. They survive for a few to several years in the soil as a root system. But only in the spring and early summer do they pop out with these lobed leaves. You see those kind of grayish leaves are kind of lobed. And by the time the stalks start blooming, usually the leaves look like they start dying off. So they're perennial roots, but the leaves and stuff are ephemeral or seasonal. So yeah, we got larkspurs up here. Okay. I was hoping to eventually come across those. I mean, I've been up in the mountains so many times, but yeah, I haven't come across larkspurs until now. Alright. So I gotta start working my way down this. And then I gotta meet up with that there. So I'm probably gonna have to climb up that chunk. I think is what I'm gonna have to do. I see the PCT down there, but I'm not gonna bushwhack to get down there. Not in the mood for bushwhacking today. I'm good on that. I think I'll take a time off of that. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and start ambling down Hayes Peak. Start working my way back to the use trail, the official use trail. Well, the Monument Peak use trail, and then work my way back to the PCT, and then the Big Laguna trail. Alright, well, see you on the next clip. Alright, so I'm just about at the Hayes Monument Saddle. So my use trail coming up from the PCT goes up that way. So what I kind of have to do is I kind of have to climb back up to near, probably about 20-30 yards away from the fence again. So I'm going to have to climb back up that a little bit. So we'll add a little elevation gain. I'm going to climb back up to that and then make a hard right to go down that use trail. So I kind of have to go up this part of the fire break back uphill a little bit because there's no cutoff. So I'll just got to go around that. Yeah. Beautiful day to be in the mountains. Beautiful day to be out and enjoying nature's good, beautiful bounty here in late spring here in the mountains. And here we go. Parish Blue Curls has not opened up yet. It should be soon. Oh, it has got such a minty aroma. Gently rub it. Trigostemma parishii. Parish Blue Curls. I don't know if I've ever actually seen woolly blue curls, Trigostemma lanatum. I think the Parish Blue Curl seems to be more common, especially here in San Diego County. It might be more common in parts of Orange County. I don't know, but I usually see the Parish Blue Curls. Well, you'll know it's woolly blue curls if the little flower stalks are completely covered in fuzz, so you can't really see the flower stalks on woolly blue curls. But on Parrish blue curls, it's fuzzy too, but you can see the flower stalks pretty clearly. Alright, so I just got to climb up that short distance just below where that little pine tree is, and then make a hard right, start heading down. Good old Monument Peak. Here's good old Hayes Peak. Good views up there too. Good views on both peaks. Alright, see you on the next clip. I'll see you basically where I'm at that turn, that sharp turn I'm going to make. Okay, here's the junction. Here's the use trail. This is where I came from the saddle. So we see this big log here, and that one there is probably put there by hikers to show which way to go up. So now what I'm going to do is make the hard right, start heading down this use trail, and start working my way back. Great day to be in the mountains. I remember the first time I combined Hayes and Monument Peaks when I did it the shorter way from the Big Laguna trailhead. When I was coming back from Hayes Peak after doing Monument Peak, I kind of had to fumble around to find the use trail going back down. So this time I saw the big sharp junction up near the fence, but not quite at it, maybe about 40 or so yards from it. I saw it, so I said, yep, that's what I got to do. Because the last time I was here, I did Hayes Peak before Monument Peak. The time before that, I did Monument Peak and Hayes Peak, and that's where I kind of messed up trying to find the use trail, so I had to kind of go back and forth a couple times. And then finally found it after a little searching. Yep. First time at 6,000 feet, above 6,000 feet since, I think November. I think November was the last time I was at 6,000 feet. That's when I was at 7,000 feet over by Palmview Peak. And didn't really feel it today. Didn't really feel any elevation, because it's been a while since I've been even at 6,000 feet. And next week, I'm planning on hopefully getting above 8,000 feet. So what I want to do is get an intermediate hike when I first start my vacation. Maybe hike up to maybe a 7,500 foot peak, maybe, and then try an 8,000 or 9,000 foot peak as my main event. So I would. Oh boy, I got caught on some chaparral. I would really love to get up to Sugarloaf Mountain. I don't know how much snow still left on the top of it. I really don't know. That's going to be kind of an interesting thing. Well, a lot of the hiking on the higher slopes is very sun exposed, so that shouldn't be too much of a factor, I don't think. especially along the ridge line, but there are some forested areas that might still have snow on them. Because the top of Sugarloaf is nearly 10,000 feet. It's 9,952. Been up there once, and I've been meaning to go up there ever since. I kind of want to do that again. So yeah, we're just about to cross below. We're going to be at 6,000 feet pretty soon. Yeah, we're going to go through this little copse of oak over here. And beautiful western chokecherry. It just smells so woodsy over here too. Now the flowers are not real perfumey on western chokecherry. They kind of have like a woodsy kind of smell. But the combination of everything kind of makes it nice and fragrant. This is just a quick little side trip. I'm trying to see, looking for some botanical interest. All right, let's go back to our trail. Look at all this. It's like these oaks have had a rough go. Yeah, this is how you know you're around 6,000 feet when you get to this spot here. This little patch of black oak woodland here. All right. All right. So we're at the bottom of the Use Trail. Here we are, meeting up with PCT. Northbound PCT, southbound PCT. And I'm going to the southbound way. That'll get me back to the Big Laguna Trail where I'm trying to go right now to get back to the car. Nice day out here, not too warm. It's probably in the low 70s right now. Well, the acorn woodpeckers are having a good time. What a surprise. Yeah, right at the top of the Jeffrey pine right there. Kind of hard to see. Kind of there. There's an acorn woodpecker over there. Probably later on I better do a quick tick check. There's so many of those caterpillars defoliating my oaks, defoliating our beautiful oaks. Kind of worries me a little bit. These plants are very resilient. I'm sure they've had to deal with it from time to time. This year just seems to be a very heavy caterpillar season. This one's been defoliated like crazy. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are defoliating everything up here, buddy. Saw some of the scrub oaks lower down on the highway that were defoliated too. So I thought maybe those were spring shedders. Ooh, I think that is a Brodiaea. So I thought they were maybe just shedding their old leaves for spring, like some oaks do. Some of the oaks that usually stay leafy during the winter, a lot of times will shed their leaves, their old leaves, when the new ones are coming out. But I'm beginning to wonder if some of those were defoliated as well. day out here, I'll tell you that. But it is kind of sad to see a lot of our oaks being chopped open. Look at that old paintbract. There's an oldie and goodie. Some of these have been around for centuries. So that's the thing, is once those oak leaves get hard, caterpillars aren't going to want to eat them. Look at that, Ceanothus, Palmery in full bloom. It does have a little bit of that perfume. It's like a woodsiness with a slight tinge of sweetness in it. Ooh, actually that had a little bit more sweetness in it. I guess sometimes the ones that have more flowers on them have maybe a little bit more sweetness. And more, yeah, these gotta be school bells. I wonder if Brodiaeas were up here, but I think they're pretty similar looking to school bells. Yeah, I have to do a little research on that as well. Gotta do a little more research. Brodiaeas and Dipterostemon capitatus are pretty similar, especially purple flowered Brodiaeas. Alright, well, hike through these woods and chaparral and see you on the next clip. So I'm heading down the PCT back towards the Big Laguna Trail. I gotta say, there's such a magical vibe about a coniferous forest. These conifers, the trees, the pines, coniferous trees, beautiful cone-bearing trees. I always loved being in coniferous forest. Always loved it. That's a feeling that doesn't go away. It's a feeling that better never ever go away, or else I feel like I am not alive inside. It's always a magic of being in a pine, fir, cedar forest, any coniferous forest. It's just a magical feeling. That's why I always love hiking in conifer forest. Since I was a kid, learning about some of our coniferous trees. Always been fascinated with conifer forest. My favorite ones are the ones that are mixed, different species, different genera of conifers. But yeah, the beautiful Jeffrey pine forest here is also very magical. So we are at our junction. So the PCT continues straight. What you want to do is go back to the car, back the way you came, and bear right here. And we're going to be in and out of these woods for a nice chunk of the way back. Most of the way back's going to be in and out of the shade of Jeffrey pines and black oaks. So this is the easiest part of the hike right here. I mean, to me, it's a pretty easy hike to get up to Monument Peak if you do it this way. The longer routes are, I would say, more in the moderate category, but I haven't been on any. You can make your own routes, but I haven't been on any routes that were strenuous. The long 8-mile loop I did last October, that was definitely in the moderate category because I went over 3 peaks and some ups and downs along the way back as well. There was some uphill climbing on the way back, so I put it in the moderate category. But even that wasn't strenuous either. It was actually very beautiful. And the PCT between Foster Point and Stevenson Peak, those areas there are patches of oracle oaks too. which are the hybrids between the interior live oaks and the black oaks. No, I haven't seen any oracle oaks along this stretch here. This is all Quercus kelloggi, California black oak. A lot of these are younger trees, or maybe resprouts from the fires of the past. It's such beautiful trees too. Like I said, there is a magic to our montane forests that, I mean, you can get it. You go to Oregon and Washington, you're in conifer forest there. In the Rockies, you're in the conifer forest. Arizona, New Mexico, they got a lot of conifer forests too. So there's a lot of magic. But just being in a coniferous forest is an awesome feeling. I'd call this more of a woodland, but I mean, being groves of conifers, it's just a great feeling. And of course, here we got so much black oak. It is one of the most common trees here in the southern Cleveland National Forest, especially in the Laguna Mountains. The Laguna Mountains California black oak is one of the most common broadleaf trees, as Jeffrey pine is by far the most common coniferous tree. Like I said, you might find ponderosa somewhere here. The only ponderosa pine I've ever seen here in the lagunas was along a nature trail. Only seen one along a nature trail over by the Laguna Visitor Center. I think it was called the Indian Nature Trail, if I remember correctly. That hike I did back in late September of 2023. There was one, I picked up a cone off of the ground to check it out, and it had a lighter upper side and a darker underside of the cone scale, and a prickle facing out, and a relatively small cone size. So those three things right there convinced me there was a ponderosa somewhere there. But it might have been planted, I don't know. That's the only ponderosa I know I've seen for sure here in the Laguna Mountains. Now, you go certain spots, you'll see coulter pines too. Sometimes they can be pretty numerous. But it seems like Jeffrey pine is the most numerous here in the Laguna Mountain range. Let's see, black oak seedlings. Yeah, this looks like this one just sprouted this year. There's a black oak seedling. Oh yeah, California black oak seedlings. Okay. Yeah, they had some acorns on them last year. They don't always produce every year. Yeah, that's cool. I love that. I love seeing that. And since it's still kind of early in the season, the black oaks have just leafed out. They're fully in leaf now, but they still have a little bit of that brightness, the bright green color that usually typifies the spring before everything turns like darker green. They still have a certain brightness because the leaves are still kind of relatively fresh. So some of these black oaks still kind of have like a minty green color to them. When trees are well into leafing out, like halfway leafed out, and they're already covered in leaves, but the leaves haven't fully developed. If you've ever been in a springtime woodland in a deciduous forest, and living in New Jersey, deciduous forest is everywhere in New Jersey. That bright green color all over the place is absolutely breathtaking. Breathtaking. All right. So my next week of videos should be me at even higher elevations. So I finally broke 6,000 feet for the first time in 2024. Hoping to be, hopefully maybe even getting above 8,000 or 9,000 feet after an intermediate elevation hike, probably in the 7s, in the 7,000 foot range, hopefully before even attempting Sugarloaf. So I probably will feel the elevation because I have not been that high up in many years. All right, well, I'll see you down the way. I'll be wrapping up probably relatively soon. Ooh, said I'll say Sparsifolia. Here we go. Love these little mallows. Love these little guys. Little checker balloon mallows. These are such cool flowers. I gotta see if I can order seeds online. Here's our wavy leaf paintbrush. Castanea Applegate subspecies Martini. Okay. That's usually the one I find in the mountains. That's the one I find by far. I've seen a couple other species. Like I think I've seen California thread torch. I think I've seen that one near Angeles Crest Highway. I've seen a couple of other species. And the ones in the coast and foothills, I've seen at least two there. Coast paintbrush and woolly paintbrush. That one we just saw was the common wavy leaf paintbrush. Yeah, more of those light lime green butterflies. I wonder if those are cabbage greens. I wonder if that's what those are. I can hear the traffic on Sunrise Highway. I'm getting close to it. Does mean I'm nearing the end of another hike. And I finally got to the mountains. Look at that. Beautiful Jeffrey pine. There's your classic Jeffrey pine shape. Narrowly conical, especially when young. There's a much bigger one here. I'm going to get on the other side because I don't want the sun getting in the camera. And in my eyes, for that matter. There's a bigger one here. This one's got a little more height and a little girth. Like I said, there are not a whole lot, at least in my experience hiking here, of old growth Jeffrey pines. This is a younger forest. It was probably logged like crazy during the Mission era and the settlers and gold rush and all that other fun stuff. There are some older trees scattered here and there. There are some scattered trees. And Noble Canyon is where you'll see some older and taller trees. You start getting some 120-foot Jeffrey pines. The really big Jeffrey pines here in Southern California. Pine Mountain, Reyes Peak area in Ventura County, Los Padres National Forest. San Bernardino Mountains near Big Bear, and also in and around that area. And in especially the eastern San Bernardino Mountains, where Jeffrey pine is much more common than ponderosa. You get lots of big Jeffrey pines along Highway 38 and a lot along Highway 18, but Highway 38, there's some huge Jeffrey pines over there. And of course on the hillsides above Big Bear. But yeah, okay, I'm just about back at the car already. So I'm not going to bother cutting this clip off and starting another one. I'm just going to follow this out. Beautiful day out here. Absolutely stupendous late spring day here in the Laguna Mountains, part of Cleveland National Forest. We're in one of three districts of the Cleveland National Forest. The southern one is the Descanso Ranger District, which is where we're hiking now. And then you go a little bit further up, over the Cleveland National Forest part west of Cuyamaca has the border of the Descanso Ranger District, and then the central district, which is called the Palomar Ranger District, which goes up towards Palomar and Agua Tibia mountains. And then once you skip over towards the Santa Margarita Mountains and head up towards Santa Ana Mountains, that's the Trabuco Ranger District. And all right, this is gonna about do it for me. Ooh, what do we have here? What do we have here? Try to identify that bird. There's a little bird following it. There was a little bird kind of following it. Interesting. Oh well. This is going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed hiking it. I'm trying to figure out what that is. I think it's a turkey vulture, but I can't tell. I can't see the head. I wish it would land. Can't tell. Oh well. Well, again, this is going to wrap it up for me. Thanks for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it. And next week, I'm looking forward to some bigger and higher mountain hikes. So I'll see you then. Enjoy.